When you're adding extensions to seventh chords, ooh, it's echoey in here. Hey, hey! When you're adding extensions to seventh chords, you need to add 7. So here's what this means. So when you add the second scale degree, this is all based on scale degrees. When you add the second scale degree, you would refer to it as the 9th because it's happening above the 3rd. If you add something below the 3rd, it's no longer an extension because you're changing the chord quality. If the lower notes change, it's no longer the same chord. So let's get some more information on that. So that if you add a second above the 3rd, you would be calling that the 9th. If you add a 4th above the 3rd, you would call that the 11th. A 6th above the 3rd would be called 13th. The reason you don't do this with other pitches, because the 5th is still the 5th, the 3rd is still the 3rd, the root is the root. Adding another 7th doesn't actually change the tonality of the chord. So here's what I mean by this. If you have a 9th chord, so if we have our X9, that is actually a 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and a 9. You're adding that 9th, so this is above the 3rd, so it's called the 9th. Even though this is just the second scale degree. So we'll do this in C. So C9 would be C, E, G, B flat, D. Yes, this D is the second, but in this case you would refer to it as the 9th because it's above the 3rd. So let's do another one. The 9, when you have a 9th or 11th or 13th, you're inferring, how do you spell inferring? Lower extensions. So if you have a 9th, you know that their 7th is included in all these other notes. So if you have X 11th, it's going to be all of these notes, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, plus the 11. Same thing with the 13th. If you have an X13 chord, it's going to be 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 9, 11, and the 13. So just take a second to kind of understand that. Whenever you see 9th, or 11th, or 13th, it's inferring that all the other earlier lower extensions are already there. So X9 has this part already built into the chord. Let's highlight that with a different color. All right, an 11th has all this built into the chord. And then the 13th would have all of that already assumed that's built into the chord. Turn that green. All right, that's the first chunk. If you don't understand that, go back, rewatch that, take some notes. Make sure you're taking notes while we're doing this. All right, so this is 9 versus add 9, especially if you've played some pop song progressions. The X9 would be your 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 9. And add 9 just simply adds the 9, adds the 9. So if we have X add 9, that would be a 1, 3, 5 for your X chord plus the 9. So if you can have an X7 add 11, that would be 1, 3, 5, flat 7 plus the 11. The reason there's no 9 included is because you've got two things. You've got the X7 chord. I'll make that in green. So here's your X7 chord. And here's your 11th. As opposed to up here, boop, your X11 has all of these notes inferred. So the add simply tags on an extra note. When you have an add, just tag on the extra note. So let's do this with this chord. An X13 would be 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 9, 11, 13. An X add 13 would be 1, 3, 5, and 13. That's all that would be. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, stop, go back. Here's the extensions we're going to use to our E string minor 7 chord. So this is like a go-go, B minor 7 chord. We're going to have a B minor 9, so that's going to be 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 9. We're going to have an add 13, so that's going to be this chord right here plus the 13. So 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, plus the 13. Put that in there. Plus the 13. Oops. All right, B minor 7, add 11. Again, it's going to be this same thing plus the 11. And then our adding 10 and our flat 7, I'm not sure what to call these. These are just guitar voicing issues. Voicings with a higher third or a higher flat 7. It's not an extension. You're not adding to the chord. You're just changing the chord voicing. So be sure to go back and make sure you understand all of this stuff. This is really important. The difference between what an extension is versus just a lower scale degree. What the extensions infer. The difference between an add chord or 9, like what's an X9 versus an X add 9. And then these are the extensions we'll be using for a go-go.